Hello, and welcome to the 40th episode of Chorus Place. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me for today's conversation. In today's episode, I'll be talking about working at the camp during Family Camp Week and also an added challenge to that week. As always, if you like what you hear, please leave a review and/or comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. Also, please follow the podcast page I've made on Facebook. If you'd like to contact me via email instead of a Facebook message, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. If you are new here, welcome. I'm your host, Cora, and I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. Today, I want to talk about working at the camp during the 2024 Family Camp Week, along with an added challenge of that week. However, before I get into that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who listens to my podcast and shares it with others. I am so thankful that I have been able to keep making episodes and that it has lasted this long so far. I hope to keep making episodes for as long as I possibly can. I don't think it would be possible without all of you. I am so thankful to have this opportunity to make this podcast and to get to share things from my life with you all. Now, on to this week's topic of Working Family Camp 2024. Let's dive in. Family Camp Week was definitely a favorite week of mine both summers. There actually weren't really a ton of differences between the 2023 week and the 2024 week, but there were a few. A few of the differences between the two were the staff got to sleep in a little more during the 2024 Family Camp than we did during Family Camp 2023. The speaker was also different, and I was healthy during 2023, but then I was sick during 2024. The similarities between those two Family Camp weeks were the amount of families we had, the staff got to eat with the families for the meals, we didn't have to clean as much during the week until the weekend, we got to attend chapel in the evenings with the families, the staff got to sleep in a little bit the whole week, the staff got to go to fireworks with the families on 4th of July, and the staff did a 4th of July parade around the camp for the families using the golf carts that some of the staff have that work there all year round, and then also the wagon for hay rack rides. At least, I think they got to during the 2024 week. If they did, I missed that part, and I will get into the reason why in just a second. Before I do, I want to share some of what the 2024 summer taught me. Not necessarily just during the Family Camp Week, but really just over the whole summer. Some of the lessons I learned, or even relearned, were, I can do hard things, God is always with me, I can and should rely on God's strength and not my own, God gives strength to the weak, and I need to take time to rest. Not just rest physically, but in other ways too. If we don't rest, we will end up feeling exhausted and weary. Take time to rest if you need it. Do something for yourself that will help you through whatever you're facing. It could be baking, cooking, listening to music, sewing, or anything like that. Just something you love doing that will be therapeutic in a way for you. Something that I actually just recently realized about myself, as of the recording of this episode is that cooking, baking, music, and writing are sometimes therapeutic for me. Usually when I'm baking, cooking, or listening to music, I'm able to kind of forget about whatever problem I'm facing, even if it's just for a short period of time. Having distractions like that definitely helps me sometimes. Maybe not every time, but at least part of the time. I think the reason that baking or cooking are good distractions for me is because I am busy trying to focus on the recipe that whatever issue I'm struggling with gets off my mind for a little while. If I had to pick between baking or cooking, I think I would have to say that baking is probably my favorite, even though I do enjoy cooking. I'm sorry if that last little bit seemed kind of off topic. I just wanted to share something I thought might be helpful for some of you. The reason why the 2024 camp experience was kind of interesting, and why I missed the parade around the camp for the 4th of July, if they did one, was because I actually ended up getting sick during the Family Camp Week. That was the added challenge I mentioned in the intro for this episode. That was the second time over the summer that I had gotten sick. The first time that I got sick was during beginner camp. I got looked at by a doctor during Family Camp Week, since we didn't really have a nurse for family camp like we would during other weeks, and was told it was probably just a cold mixed with allergies. They told me to take allergy medicine and also told me to take cough medicine at night. I also had bought some cough drops which helped as well. It definitely was not fun to be sick, but I managed okay and it all worked out fine in the end. There were definitely a couple of days during that week where I felt pretty rough, but I eventually recovered, so that was good. It was hard to be sick though. I felt bad that I was sick and not able to work as much during the week, but I just worked when I was able to or had energy. I was not purposely trying to avoid or get out of doing work that week. I just didn't feel great and couldn't work at normal capacity. Thankfully, people were very understanding and I was allowed to lay down when I needed to that week. There were a couple of times where I left meals early to go back to the staff building and lay down and rest, but I got permission to, so it wasn't like I was purposely leaving everyone to do all the work while I was doing something fun or whatever. Being sick was not planned, but there wasn't really much I could do about it at that point other than just rest whenever I possibly could. The weekend after family camp ended and we were done cleaning, I was exhausted. I took 2 naps that Saturday and 1 that Sunday, but I was just so tired. I eventually realized that it was probably caused by the 2 medicines I was taking, since I was taking one of them twice a day and the other only once a day at that point. Both bottles of medicine did say that they could cause drowsiness, so it's probably that and also just needing more sleep. I was able to cut back on both medicines after a few days, and that helped me not feel as tired. Being able to sleep that weekend was also helpful too. On a happier / more fun note, I enjoyed the speaker we had for family camp. I thought he was an excellent speaker. One thing I forgot to mention in last week's episode is that the camp's theme for each week of the 2024 season was called Big God, and we had some space-themed decorations up in a couple of places. It was a really cool theme and I liked it. I thought it was a great theme. It was nice to be able to join in during evening chapel every night during family camp. Anytime we got to go to chapel over the summer was definitely a highlight for me and it made me so happy. I'm not at all saying I didn't like the devotions we did as a staff. I actually enjoyed them quite a lot. I just thought doing chapel was fun and I looked forward to it every opportunity we could go. I know this is slightly off topic, but one other quick little note that I thought might be fun to add is that our staff shirts for 2024 partially glowed in the dark. Not the whole shirt, but just some of it. The shirts the campers got for 2024 were also really cool too. Now, to close out this episode, I want to share something with you all that I need as many people as possible to help me with. I know I have shared this in previous episodes, but want to share it here in case you missed an episode or are just tuning in for the first time. I want to continue to use this podcast to spread the gospel and to spread the hope of Jesus, but to do that, I need your help. More details to come in just a second, so stay tuned and don't go away. This may sound kind of like an ad, but if you enjoyed this episode, can you please send this podcast, either just this episode or the whole podcast, to all of your friends and family, have them listen to it, and then follow the podcast? I would love to see this podcast reach as many places as possible, so that more people can hear about the hope we have in Jesus. In today's world that is full of so much sin, pain, hurt, and heartbreak, we need the hope of Jesus and gift of salvation he freely offers us. I need your help in order to spread this podcast. I cannot do this without all of you helping. I want to see if I can get at least one person from all 50 states to listen and share this podcast, and also from as many countries as possible too. Unless I miscounted, I currently have 25 of the 50 states as of the recording of this episode. If you would like more info on what states I still want to find listeners from, please let me know and I would be happy to send you a list of states I still need listeners from. I want to reach as many people as possible and get as many podcast followers as I can as well, so I can reach even more people with hope and encouragement. I know some choose to listen on YouTube rather than Spotify, though, but I can keep track of states better through Spotify for podcasters. I'm not sure if I can keep track of what states I have listeners in on YouTube, though. It would mean so much to me if I could get even more listeners of the podcast. I want to get as many as possible. I know some people don't listen to podcasts, but I would really appreciate it if you would share it with your friends and as many other people as you can. We all need the hope of Jesus. Not just me, not just you. Everyone on this earth, both right now and in the future, needs Jesus and the hope he offers. Life without Jesus would be so hopeless and discouraging. Jesus offers so many blessings and gifts to us. I know that sometimes it feels like he has forgotten you or is not there with you, but the truth is, he is always with you, even when you don't feel like it. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please follow, leave a comment, and a review of my podcast if you haven't already, and please follow my podcast page on Facebook so you never miss an update. If you have any verses you'd like me to read on a future episode, or if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org, send me a message on my podcast page on Facebook, or a voice message through the link in the show notes, and I'll get back to you when I can. Hope you tune in next week for the 41st episode and the final installment of my 2024 camp stories.